Yes, and nobody went to jail, Carol. We raised $1 million running the football, and then she come, the most memorial in Washington, D.C. How proud we are of that fact. Please give a round of applause for the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial. I am so appreciative for all of you all being here tonight. Taking out time to come as we kick off our Global Youth Leadership Conference. Let me first of all thank Philander Smith College for hosting the Martin Luther King Global Youth Leadership Conference, which includes tonight's activities. Actually, on tomorrow, we'll be interviewing the top 10% students at Philander Smith for jobs and our internships. And then on Saturday, we're going to bring together high school kids and talk to them about leadership opportunities, how to become a better leader in their community, how to become a better youth. Please give it up for that activity. I want to thank the Walton Family Foundation for their partnership and their support of the Memorial Foundation as program. Ms. Carol Stern, Executive Director. Please give the Walton Family Foundation a round of applause. At this time, I'm going to invite President Robert Smothers, President and CEO at the Philander Smith College, to provide brief remarks. Please, Dr. Smothers. Dr. Smothers.
Harry, thank you so much. It is an honor and privilege as always to be gathered with everything that's going on in the world. It is so refreshing to see your faces tonight. What a beautiful audience, no doubt what a beautiful occasion to gather in the spirit of Memorial Day. Dr. Johnson, thank you to choosing Philander Smith College as your first partner to launch your global leadership series. I believe, as you will hear us discuss on the panel, right, that our youth are indeed the future. And if we can't come together and bring our best minds and our brightest minds and efforts together to talk about the youth and our future, then I think we've gotten something wrong. Harry Johnson, you have gotten it right tonight. So thank you for bringing this group of power hitters, if you would, tonight to discuss this. I want to briefly recognize the Philander students in the audience. So all of the Philander students who are here, they're coming in. I want you to just stand up where you are. All of my PSC students, if you can stand up. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you all for being here tonight. And more importantly, thank you to all of our panelists who you will get to meet formally. And Carol, I'm so good to have you and Dr. Jackson Williams with us tonight. It's so good to have Representative Jamie Scott, our adopted representative, with us tonight. But more importantly, it's so great to just see you all tonight. Looking forward to the conversation, and thank you, Harry Johnson, for this partnership.
Thank you, Dr. Smothers. One more time, Dr. Robert Smothers. At this time, it is my pleasure to invite Dr. Carol Stern, Executive Director of the Walton Family Foundation, to provide brief remarks about tonight. Would you please give a round of applause for Carol Stern? Thank you.
I first met Harry Johnson about 20 years ago in a boardroom where we said, wouldn't it be great if we could put a king and president on the wall? And it was one of those moments where we all sat there and said, are you really going to do this? And I have told my children of all the things that I've got to do in my life. When that memorial got dedicated, it was the proudest moment I think I've ever had. And so when Harry called and said, will you guys write down Cantonville, you don't say no to Harry Johnson. So that's why I'm here. I'm really excited about the Global Youth Leadership Conference because at the foundation, we truly do invest in 100% of our future. And then if we invest in our young people, we invest in ourselves. And we are really committed to finding solutions to the problems and understanding that we may not always find common ground, but we can work together to find common solutions. And then we need to bring people together because this nation is too separate. So thank you for having me, Dr. Smothers, for the privilege to be on this campus, and I look forward to many more visits during the year. So thanks so much.
Thank you, Carol. Appreciate it very, very much. Yeah, that's why they call them relationships. You got to just keep continuing to grow relationships. And Who would have thought and knew? And once I met Carol Stern, and she opened up doors for the foundation to raise millions of dollars, and I will keep asking her to do me favors. So thank you, Carol. I appreciate you so very much. And now it's my pleasure to talk about and introduce Mr. Sean Stern, the director of the Martin Luther King Jr. Commission. The importance of that commission, programs all around the state, the acknowledgement of Dr. Martin King, it's easy for us to realize or forget who and what Dr. King really represented. We understand that young kids today, if you're under 40, you just know you get a day off from school, a day off from work. So it's important for us to keep reminding people that Dr. King was Abraham Lincoln, who was Jefferson. He was a change agent in this country at a time when it needed to be changed. You know, like Jefferson, when Jefferson was the president, it was delivered whether it was a democracy or an off. And Jefferson, this is the United States of America democracy. And Lincoln said, country's about to be split in two, North versus South. And when President Lincoln said, this is the United States of America. Once again, when Dr. King was alive, about to be split in two, half versus half not, black versus white. It was Dr. King said, you know what, we all came with a good ship, we were the same boat now. So we all should keep remembering folks have to remember who Dr. King was and his purpose in this life was. And with that, would you please welcome Mr. Deshaun Scarborough. Mr. Scarborough, please give a round of applause.
Thank you so much for having me. Today, I wanted, since we were talking about youth, I thought it would be befitting if I brought my youngest baby here, Braxton Scarborough. Y'all give him a round of applause. This is his first outing with his father. So, the Arkansas Martin Luther King Commission, our goal is to promote racial harmony, multicultural diversity, and social equality for all Arkansans. We are legislatively mandated to exemplify leadership among our own youth of all ages and all races, and allow them to matriculate their future endeavors. Having said that, it's certainly an honor to be here to be with you, Mr. Johnson. We've talked in the past, and we have a talk, see what you're doing, the global youth experience, it's volume of the direction you want to go in. Do all I can to get you there and help you as well. At this time, I'd also like to thank Dr. Smothers for having me. You guys, some of you may know I'm a Philander myself, a few years ago, and it's important to always be able to come back to my alma mater to do all I can to help increase and promote social change. Before giving away the mic, I'd like to take the opportunity to ask one of our commissioners, Mr. Gerald Canada, please stand. Mr. Canada, I'm going to ask you to come up real quick before I ask Mr. Harry E. Johnson to come to the podium. And on behalf of the Arkansas Martin Luther King Jr. Commission, we would like to salute you for all that you do in promoting this global issue. Please give a round of applause. Okay, we'd also like to take the opportunity to recognize Ms. Janine Francine. Come on up, Ms. Francine. Thank you so much. On behalf of the Arkansas Martin Luther King Jr. Commission, for the MLK Excellence in Broadcast Journalism. I'll give a round of applause, please. Last but not least, I'd like for you to stand for this one. Please ask Dr. Roderick Smothers, please come to the podium. All right. Smothers, thank you for all that you do for our youth. Thank you for Arkansas. We'd like to recognize you as the MLK Drum Major for Education.
See, this evening is going to be a very exciting evening. I just stay happy all the time. So let me tell you a little bit about the after we go to Martin Luther King Memorial, what else are we going to do with the memorial? Everybody knows this memorial in Washington, D.C. I told you about the fifth most memorial there. It's built in a piece of stone. So we came up with programs that make a difference in the lives of African Americans. We do free movies in the summertime. We do a Congressional Black Caucus luncheon where we have about 15 members of the Black Caucus come join us for lunch. We just had a celebration of the 50th year of the opening of the memorial in D.C. We had the President of the United States. We had the Vice President of the United States. We had the Speaker of the House. We had about 60 members of Congress. So the memorial makes it in a however, there are still other things that we must do. And so we came up with this idea, this global youth leadership conference. And that is to go to 8 different cities, 8 different HBCUs, talk to 300 different young kids in each city, and tell them about Dr. Martin Luther King, about the leadership principles that Dr. King told about all of us. But then we added a little caveat in there. And that is, what happens if we get all of our sponsors whose names you see on the banner over there, and tell them, hey, look, we're so tired of hearing you all say you can't find good people of color to hire for internships or jobs. So guess what we want to do? On Friday morning, we're actually going to introduce you to the top 10% students at the HBCU that we're visiting. So tomorrow, some of our sponsors will interview the top 10% students here at Philander Smith for internships and or jobs. Please give it up for that. Unlike Dr. Smothers and some of you, I was never a 10% student. In fact, I don't even know what 10% means. But I was a student, and I heard that a top 10% student at HBCU is a top 10% student at any college or university. So how proud we are to be here, Dr. Smothers, for this particular event. So we're excited about the event. So let's get started tonight. How proud we are for me to introduce the moderator for this evening's community conversations, Ms. Janae Francine. Janae was born and raised in Memphis, Tennessee, which is not too far from the natural state. She graduated, there you go, one of the top 10% students, cum laude from Middle Tennessee State University in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, with a degree in broadcast journalism and a double minor in Spanish and speech theater. A bad young lady. Oh my God. I had to do political science to try to get to the school. You go ahead on. Janae is currently the weekend anchor for KATV, Channel 7 in Little Rock. Prior to coming to Little Rock, she was also the morning anchor for the Fox and NBC affiliate in Shreveport, Louisiana. She is also reported and anchored in her hometown of Memphis. In her spare time, she enjoys spending time with family, friends, and cooking. Please give it up to Ms. Janae, and let's get the program started. Ms. Janae. Please.
Well, good evening, everyone. It's so nice to be here for this intimate, timely conversation. This is my first time at Philander. So I was saying it's so nice to be here around loved ones, and people that I've met before, some bright new faces, and hopefully this is not the last time. I want to introduce the panelists for this evening. So when I introduce you, you can come take your seat up here. I'm going to start with Dr. Carol Stern. Carol Stern joined the Walton Family Foundation as Executive Director after 14 years as President and CEO of UNICEF USA. Previously, Carol served as Senior Associate National Director and Chief Operating Officer at the Anti-Defamation League, the founding director of its A World of Difference Institute, and the Dean of Students at Polytechnic University. A dynamic change maker, Carol has dedicated her career to helping others through education, compassion, advocacy, and rolling up her sleeves. A sought-after public speaker on the topics of kids helping kids, children and philanthropy, anti-bullying, and international development. Carol was invited to present at the White House's inaugural summit on the United States of Women and was named one of 25 women changing the world in 2017 by People magazine. Wow. And 20 most influential moms of 2017 by Family Circle. 25 moms we love by Working Mother magazine, and 10 women to watch by Jewish Women International. Wow. Carol is an activist, an author, executive public speaker, mother of 3, well, just heard all of those working mother accomplishments, and a grandmother of 2. Let's welcome Ms. Carol. Next, let's welcome Dr. Roger Smothers. Dr. Smothers Sr. has served as the 14th president of Philander Smith College since January of 2015. Since assuming the helm of the United Methodist Church of affiliated with private historically Black institutions, his innovative and progressive leadership has fueled the Philander Forward movement, a new vision and 10-year long-range plan and strategy designed to return the college to its historical national prominence and international acclaim. With a passion for helping African American students in particular get to and through college, Dr. Smothers is singularly committed to ensuring that, quote, serious students have access to a quality post-secondary education. Over the course of his 27-year career in higher education, Dr. Smothers has served in a variety of senior-level administrative roles. President Smothers is an active member of several professional organizations, to include the Council of Independent Colleges, the National Association of Independent Colleges and Universities, the United Negro College Fund, the Black College Fund Council of Presidents of the United Methodist Church, and the National Association of Intercollegiate Athletics. Additionally, he is a 27-year active member of the Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated and a member of the Sigma Pi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. He proudly served his country as a member of the U.S. Air Force Reserve and saw active duty during Operation Desert Shield Desert Storm. A native of Louisiana, Dr. Smothers is married to Katina Smothers, Esquire, and is a proud father of 5 adult children. Let's give him a Next, let's give it up for Representative Jamie Scott. Representative Scott is serving her second term in the Arkansas House. She represents District 37, which includes portions of Pulaski County. With the 93rd General Assembly, Representative Scott serves on the Joint Budget Committee, the Joint Performance Review Committee, the House Judiciary Committee, and the House City Council and Local Affairs Committee. Representative Scott is also the Director of Pulaski County Services. She graduated from Arkansas State University with a BA in Criminology and Sociology and a MA in Criminal Justice. Additionally, she is a graduate of the Harvard School of Government Executive Education Program. Representative Scott has been recognized by the Democratic Party of Arkansas as a 2017 Emerging Leader and is the recipient of several awards, including a Kojic 20 Under 40 Achievers Award, Citizen of the Year, the Bishop D.O. Lindsay Spirit of Excellence Community Award, William H. Bowen School of Law Global Award, Women of Excellence in Education Award, and a 2018 Leadership Community Award. She lives in North Little Rock and is a member of the Church of God. Next, let's welcome Ms. Laura Kelly. She serves as the Northwest Arkansas Advocates, Children, and Families. In this role, she wants to call attention to challenges facing children in the region and to build support for policy solutions that can help all children thrive. Before joining Arkansas Advocates, she was a newspaper reporter for 15 years, mostly covering politics and government for the Arkansas Democrats Today. Laura also spent time on the staff of the U.S. Senate Finance Committee as part of the American Political Science Association's Congressional Fellowship Program. She was a longtime board member of the Economic Opportunity Agency of Washington County, as well as the League of Women Voters. Laura earned a journalism degree from the University of Arkansas and has lived in the Northwest Arkansas corner of the state for more than 30 years. There was in paper. And last but not least, let's welcome Mr. Scott Hamilton. Scott Hamilton is a proud native of Little Rock, Arkansas, where he grew up and ultimately started his professional work career in the energy industry. After spending several years out of state, Scott returned to Little Rock in 2011 and assumed leadership of the state of Arkansas Energy Department. An avid nonprofit supporter and participant, Scott recently was selected to lead the Urban League of the state of Arkansas, where he is focused on structuring the organization to be an effective connector between human needs and solution providers. Scott's educational attainments include a BA from Hendrix College, a Master's of Business Administration from Rutgers College, and a Juris Doctor from the University of Missouri School of Law. Scott is active in several local nonprofits, including City Year Little Rock, the Boys and Girls Club of St. Arkansas, and the American Association of Energy. Additionally, he is a current mayoral appointee of the Little Rock City Planning Commission. You all ready to get this conversation started? thank you all again for being here. I guess the first question, when we think of building a better Arkansas for youth. We heard earlier today, children are the future. When you think of youth, do you think our future is in good hands or that our future is kind of blue? Let's be real. And anyone can.
Great question, and thank you. Thank you for moderating this panel. This is excellent. Dr. Smothers, again, thank you for allowing us to be in your house. The work you do is exactly what we're talking about. This is what we need to see happen everywhere, every day, that we can. The future, I believe, our youth are facing now is a result of what many of us have not done. That we have not really thought and been thoughtful in many times of the decisions that we've made as business leaders, politicians, sometimes even as parents, as mentors, and sometimes lack thereof. I think our youth are absolutely the most important thing that we got before us. You already said that. If we don't invest in our youth, we might as well not invest in anything. I'll tell an interesting story. A couple of general sessions ago, I was speaking at the Capitol about a bill that I was not very excited about. We're going to do it. And as I looked at putting together my conversation, I called my 21-year-old niece, Kennedy. And I said, Kennedy, I'm going to be talking about stand your ground bill. And, I need to get your perspective as a 21-year-old. What would you say to legislators? And I put all this brilliant stuff together about, rules, all the different kinds of back and forth studying all along. And she said, Uncle Scott, she says, that's a good thing. I'm proud of you and glad you're there. She said, but we need to talk about this earth. She said, if we don't have an earth here, I'm not concerned about it. She said, I'm more concerned whether in the next 3, 5, 10, 15 years, is there going to be a place for me to quote Philander, to be able to breathe clean air? And I thought for a minute, I thought, wow, what a wonderful thought. Here we are in 2020, still talking about things that we should have resolved many, many years ago. Yet while we're still doing that, we're missing the things that are before our youth and are before us. So I think that we have not done a good job as a society in really staying in tune, listening to our youth, have the conversations with them, and making sure what's important to them, what impacts them, what comes out of their mouths, are the things that we're focused on. So we've got work to do.
Great response, thank you. And I guess that's a good segue into my next question. When it comes to youth having opportunity, how do we make sure that youth, regardless of race, regardless of gender, regardless of religion, have these same opportunities, regardless if you live in Northwest Arkansas or if you live in Central Arkansas, regardless if you live in an urban area or a rural area? What can we do to make sure that they have the same opportunities?
That is how you feel in a lot. One of the things that I was talking about earlier in the foundation started is internship programs between freshman and sophomore year, sophomore and junior year, that lift the child up to have access to something else in junior and senior. Many of us hire those interns junior and senior year with the thought that, we'll take them for the summer and do a good, we'll keep them when we graduate. But we don't necessarily give them the work opportunity that allows them to succeed. So looking at earlier interventions, looking at programs where they get a chance to ask a question, learn the job skills, show their jobs, and then we can work with them on their efforts.
How would you say we get them excited about those opportunities? Because sometimes the only time they're hearing it is in the classroom. They're not hearing it at home. They're not seeing it in their community. So for them, that opportunity might seem uncool or taboo.
When we started our program last summer, and actually getting excited about the limited space was the problem. That we found young people want opportunity. They're excited by chances. And that's expected by every one of us. So we learn more from our kids than we learn from us. It's just a fantastic experience over there.
Yeah, I was just going to say, and I want to commend you, Carol, for providing those opportunities and the access to those opportunities. That actually is one of the greatest challenges, and I think therein lies what I believe is the beauty of the historically Black college and university, that for many, many years, where young folks have been denied that access. Colleges and universities like Philander believe in them. I'm often reminded, Harry, of the work we did when you took over the building of the monument and the inscription that is on that monument that really served as the impetus for its building out of a mountain of despair, a stone of hope. And I believe that when our young people visit the memorial in DC, as it's one of the most frequently visited memorials there, when they have those types of experiences in an internship, that inspires them, that motivates them. One of the challenges of our classroom today is motivation and inspiring young folks to lead, to learn. These opportunities and the combinations therein are what we need more of to make sure that our young folks are doing what they need to do to actually have a better tomorrow.
My organization on the side is considering things from public policy, investing in public policy projects and so we lobby for it, which is great stuff. We want to make sure like representing that. But one of the things that to put students, put young people in the position to really take advantage of those kinds of opportunities is those really early opportunities that we as a state have to prioritize from high quality early childhood education to after school and summer programs that are available to them to make sure they're learning in those early years and are able to read on time and to be able to succeed later. And I think that we're seeing some pushback. I know that you're hearing, never come from you, but you're hearing from some of your colleagues starting to question whether those types of investments are worth it. So we all have to make sure that we add our voices to those and say, yes, investing in these early opportunities and later opportunities as well are really key for kids because we have to put them in that position to be able to take advantage of those opportunities.
And I think that we have to, as a society, start looking at the whole child. So the physical and social emotional being of the child. We need to think about if they're academically on track. Because of COVID, we see a lot of academic learning loss through virtual learning. And we're seeing kids that are socially promoted in school, and they're not ready for post-secondary education. We also need to, we're talking about equitable opportunities. We need to think about restorative justice in our schools as we think about disciplined students. Because that's just a pipeline of prison that we don't want to save. We need to think about the children that are in our welfare system. Are they getting quality services, coordinated, comprehensive services? And then we need opportunities like this weekend, where you can get students to be physically engaged, learn leadership development, and help some social justice active. So there's a whole bunch of issues that you have to address in this if we're talking about equitable opportunities for our youth.
And that's awesome because before you can help, you have to understand what the issue is. So one of the challenges you just mentioned is COVID-19. And COVID harmed our community in so many ways, but it also, I guess, put a mirror up to show exactly what some of these issues are. And unfortunately with COVID, we had Boys and Girls Clubs that were closed down, community centers that were closed down, all of these different entities in the community that fuel the youth, a way for them to stay out of trouble. What do we do now that COVID-19 is in place to make sure we're still propelling the youth forward and they're not getting halted by something they can't control?
I think we have to echo, it's not just what they do in the class. It is the totality of the young person. We have to stop thinking about a school day and think about a night. The moment that child wakes up, the moment that child goes to bed. And really, what are the supports that he or she needs to learn to have that whole spectrum? You know, COVID didn't create the problem, COVID just put the spotlight on top of it. And so we have an opportunity though right now with this COVID to say the windows are open. You know, fresh air coming in. Can you imagine when the schools are open? People are finally coming to the reality that what we thought is not working. And so I think we have to stand up and use our voices and use what we've learned and really fix the problem. Put it into it. You know, it's been there for a long time.
And do you think by having these uncomfortable conversations, because as you said, it spotlights it, it should become normal to have those uncomfortable conversations? Is that okay?
Yeah, you know, I actually my colleagues, the public secretary, and they say this, but we have got to sit at the table with people who don't agree. We've got to rise above the things we don't agree, solve the big problems of the land. It's gotta be about common solutions, not common ground. So a lot of time we try to find like-minded people to the table that we need to. So, and I was thinking about when you were talking about the bill, because my very dear friend, my Tim Trevor, when he was talking to me about common solutions, that think about the, he said, you're gonna get those who are pro, and they're gonna argue all their statistics. You're gonna get those that are anti, and they're gonna argue all their statistics, and they're just gonna argue. You're never gonna get anywhere. Because if you went to both sides and said, don't you want to stop the violence? And put their minds together and argue gun control as a solve the problem. That's conversation, and that's what we have to get. Maybe I don't have to.
I think also mental health. We don't talk about mental health enough. COVID-19 was really hard on adults. Imagine how hard it was on our youth and our children. So what we did at Black County Services, Judge Very High funded a program that me and my staff wrote, some of my college interns, assisted us with this program. And we're providing free counseling and therapy to students or staff, like meaning teachers or educators or administrators, who lost a loved one to COVID or who was experiencing just a hard time dealing with COVID. And so that was just kind of an outside the box thinking, kind of what can we do to kind of meet some of the unspoken needs during the pandemic. And every time I get a notification that someone has signed up, it kind of broke my heart initially because it was just kids who lost a parent or a grandparent or loved one, and it broke their heart. But people need, people are hurting. They're not knowing how to cope, and teachers are just having to show back up into school after their colleagues passed away to continue to teach on the front line. So, we have to care about the teachers and the people who are doing this work as well. So mental health is an issue that, like Dr. Stern said, it's always been there, but we need to make sure that we're addressing it going forward. For our youth, as they're dealing with social emotional learning, I think suicide is one of the top 5 rates of things that are taking our youth out. And so if we don't have these conversations and talk to them about how they're really feeling and provide safe spaces for them to articulate that to us, then we're going to continue to see problems in our state.
And for the long haul too, not just.
No, absolutely.
When I worked for UNICEF, I was in Houston after school, I was out in Houston. And the kids finally got back to school, and I was in the first grade classroom, and it started to rain. I watched these first graders go home, because rain was picking up. And so if we don't help them through the forced conversation, understanding that they have lost loved ones. A lot of them have lost their geography. Parents moved, mom and dad lost their job. They lost their contact with their friends, and they lost. And we've got to treat that loss and not ignore that.
That question forces me to think of a study. I can't remember who did it many years ago, but we see it. When you look at first grade kids, right? You take a little white girl, a little black boy, they're identical. They have new shoes, they have a new outfit, they have a backpack, they have crayons, they've got all the tools and resources to be successful first grade. But by the 3rd grade, when you look at the stats of young black boys that are so discouraged about school, we have to say, what's going on? And I think as we have these productive conversations, these are the ones that we have to make sure that our education system understands that and really looks into what is going on in those 2 years of early development that are impacting one kid differently from another. It's the conversation of equity. Northwest Arkansas top of the week, and the whole conversation was equity, intentionality, inclusion. It's wonderful to talk about, but you got to do it. And our stats are the things that we see with our youth are saying that we're not doing those things. So those conversations have to work to the point that they become.
I just wanted to add that one of the things that has come from COVID is historic funding to the state. So right now, from the local districts to the state government, we have billions of fees that have come into the state through the American Rescue Plan, and our local officials from school boards to the governor are making decisions about how to spend that. And we want to encourage all of you to join that conversation and let them know that we don't want to squander that historic opportunity. We can use some of that money to invest in the types of programs that close those achievement gaps, that ensure that we don't see the huge gaps between white kids and all the kids in Arkansas who are Black and people of color. So it's a great opportunity for all of us. On our website, we have a new publication that just talks about how you can advocate for those things and what type of voices our local and government, state officials have. And so we encourage you all to take part in that conversation at Arkansas Advocacy. You can just Google it and find it. But it's a great tool to be able to sort of add your voice to that conversation, because we could squander this opportunity if we don't all join in that.
I think also we have to talk about broadband. We don't talk about that enough, and not having access to broadband in rural areas, or just students, parents that can afford internet service. So if you had kids that were doing virtual learning, what kind of learning did you think took place for that child? So I think we also, if we're talking about opportunities, this summer we need to see summer programs every day, and we need Dr. Charity and all these other people who are just so skilled in these areas put together curriculum so that we can help address the academic learning loss, because those kids are going to eventually come to college and not be ready. And so they're going to accumulate that because they're having to take remedial courses. It's all kinds of things that's just pushing issues down, down the line so we don't address them, like here today for the kids. So.
Absolutely. And how many times do we hear, you just need to show up and we'll handle the rest? That's what we tell children nowadays. Just show up and we'll handle the rest. We're finding out that many students aren't even showing up anymore because of the burdens and the trials and tribulations that they're dealing with at home. And a recent study from the Educational Testing Service shows that there's an increase in minority students showing up on that first and secondary education level, and enrollment in white students is going down. So what do we do to make sure that that push is equal? We're pushing everyone. Show up, show up, show up, regardless of what's going on at home. Show up.
I'll start. That sounds like an education type question. So you're right, and it was actually during President Obama's administration that we realized how quickly our public schools were growing, if you would, and the recognition that more kids of color were showing up, but the percentage of qualified teachers who looked like them seemingly was diminished. I think for places like Philander Smith College, we've got an amazing team, Dr. Sherry Smith and Boyd Sane, and they're here in the audience today, but we are focused here at Philander Smith College with a social justice charged mission on training teachers to not just have the knowledge, skills, and dispositions to be effective in the classroom, but to also have the cultural competencies that are required to reach and connect with those students who show up, no matter what color they are. And I think that unfortunately is one of the downfalls of our educational preparation systems today. We're not training our teachers to be prepared to go into that classroom and reach those students, no matter what their learning level is, no matter what their color is. It is our responsibility to train educators to be prepared and equipped to teach those kids. And so that's the role that a place like Philander Smith College plays. And we can't ignore the fact that institutions like ours have historically been underfunded to produce those types of teachers, while we have the strongest track record in doing so, right? So it is a reality that at the end of the day, that there are over 5,000 institutions of higher education in America, and yet only 101 of those are historically Black colleges and universities. Less than 5% of all post-secondary education institutions, but we produce more than 40% of all teachers of color who are prepared to go into those classrooms and be effective. And so if you want to make a good investment, right? If you want to make a good investment, then you invest in those institutions like Philander Smith College and the other 100 HBCUs who have, this is not Robert Smothers' conjecture. This is data. This is irrefutable facts that these institutions have a track record for producing those types of educators. And so I say to you, Madam Representative, for the first time last year in the state of Arkansas, I had to convince Governor Hutchinson has been so supportive, but we educate the legislature around the importance of the 4 HBCUs in this state, so that not you, but several others, and for the first time, each HBCU got $1 million in unrestricted funding to invest in their students and their programs. We need more of that so that we can address that very issue. I'm on my soapbox now.
That's fine. That's what we wanted to do. That's fine. And I'm gonna say the children know, they're not naive. They can tell when the instructor isn't excited because honestly, in their teacher, or they're just feeling games because someone's out sick or choosing not to show up for work that day. So I say that to say, in the age of social media, children are now speaking out. They now feel like their voice is amplified because of that. What can we do to let them know their voice is being heard on that platform?
So one thing we did in my role as director of youth services is we partnered with Philander, and we used their director of social justice last year, Christopher Harden, and we also partnered with White Church School in Jacksonville. And so for one of their professional development days, I contracted him out, and I had him do a training for their staff because they have a social justice focus, and I knew that. So you just have to be, I think, aware of what's going on, like what temperature are people trying to move the needle and really get engaged in this work. So we brought those educators here for like 2-day training, and we brought some of the students here as well, because people want to do this work, but some of these people who don't look like us, they don't even know where to start. So we have to have the training, have the conversation, so they know how to deal with kids who show up and don't look like them, and they have the heart to serve these kids, and they don't know where to start. So we have to have compassion, we have to have training, we have to think outside the box, we have to partner with people who are doing the work every day, like Philander, to do these things, to bring these kind of opportunities in the schools, because the school districts are underfunded, they don't have the money to do these things. Ask Superintendent Sullivan. Okay. I'm just saying, so, you just have to, I think, be creative in how we approach social justice. How can we bring it to the schools? There's ways to do these things, and we just need to figure it out. We can do all kinds of things. We can do them
And I think COVID kind of amplified that. Students already knew how to get on the platform to go to school because they're better at technology than most of us in the room right now. But it was the teachers who had to think outside of the box. How can I make this lesson felt at home since I'm not here to see you in the classroom? So have you all seen within you all's career field that change to technology?
Oh, absolutely, but I think some of the teachers we had one first grade teacher, she just started putting up hours that she did. She said the kids started logging on to do their homework, they didn't talk to them, but they wanted to run over them, And so I think it's also not just teaching them how to teach, but teaching them what kids are looking for. And with everything else that we do in society, we go to the consumer, and then you got a product, you go to the consumer. You have to talk to our kids. And we have to provide space for them to take their voices and hear what do they need, not what we think.
Organizations like ours, I think, have often said, this is what's important, and this is what y'all should all get behind us and walk with us. And I think that the effective ones and ones that are making a shift to do work better are the ones that are saying, let's walk alongside you. We don't want to tell young people what's important. We want them to lead us, and we can help them along the way. But we want to, at a minimum, walk alongside them and not ask them to follow us. We need to be following them. I just my own nieces and nephews watching them learn the social issues of the day through TikTok has been really educational for me. After George Floyd, just watching them learn so much about what I had known through my work that they were learning through their social media at 16, 17, 18. It's been really powerful, and so it's time that we follow them.
Yeah, I echo that totally. Again, going back to my two greatest teacher now, my 21-year-old niece. Good. Kids. And so what we have to recognize is that the access that our youth have to information is at the fingertips, and it's accurate. I mean, the information we have is an encyclopedia Britannica, and the TV was on after 9 o'clock. But nonetheless, these kids know what they're talking about. So there's not this opportunity to say, do as I say, not as I do. It is a partnership that we have to have with our youth. We have to respect what they bring to the table, because it's active. And if we're not respecting what our youth are bringing, then they are disillusioned by us. The conversations that I have with my niece are I'm just amazed, like 30 years younger than me. But what she knows, but then what she doesn't know how to apply is where my role is, that what she brings to me is going to be power. My job then is working with her to apply it in my modern day time. And I think we all have to look at the way we educate, the way we respect our youth, and make sure that we begin to look at it more as a partnership for the development as opposed to the learning that we have.
You all just made an amazing point, because I was going to say, meeting them where they are, we never think as adults, sometimes we could be doing more harm than good by telling them what they need to do instead of listening to that idea or that right thought they might have.
I also think, putting on my other hat as state representative, some of the most moving testimonies I've heard have come from our youth at the Capitol, have come from college students, or have come from educators like Dr. Charity, who came and spoke against Stand Your Ground. She gave one of the most moving testimonies and gave a real life picture to my colleagues who don't look like me, the impact that it would have on African American men. So we have to use our voices. We don't speak enough. We have a powerful tool that we don't utilize enough. And we get to change all kinds of things if we just showed up authentically who you are and lend your voice to the conversation. We're on the sidelines, and that's why everything is the way it is.
I want to add this, and I know this would be considered to be the minority opinion this evening, but I have to say it because we are talking about the man and the person who Martin Luther King, who espoused many values, and several of them were against hatred. And while social media has been a powerful tool, and we're talking about the value of it and how it has helped us to be far more advanced than we've been previously, it has also had a negative impact on our youth. And so the very statistic that you quoted earlier about suicide and depression, social media has also been the source of that in our young folks as well. And so I think we have to figure out how to help them to strike a balance and not allow it to become the mainstream source, right? Because to me, there's still nothing that takes the place of a strong family. And so I think that's the other part that we must also recognize. Yeah.
Inspired me talking about how inspirational the young people who come to the Capitol are, and I'm reminded of I'm in the Northwest Arkansas office of our organization, so a lot of the young people that I'm advocating for are children and immigrant families. And I think of the brave DACA student, Deferred Action for Childhood Arrival, and they change people's minds about what it means to be a young person who arrives here as an immigrant and has grown up into the Arkansas schools and wants to succeed and want to become nurses and want to become teachers. They literally change hearts and minds with their brave testimony. So I would encourage all the young people here to know that you can change people's minds when you go and tell your story. For that reminder.
Absolutely, because we have students who, at Arkansas, our taxpayers were paying for them to go through school, K through 12, but then because of this law, we were telling them that we wouldn't invest in them to become the nurses that we needed during COVID and all this other stuff. Those kids came and gave testimonies, we were in decline. That's how moving their testimonies were. They changed the hearts of probably everybody in their community. And because I know the vote wasn't there. The vote was not there. But those kids showed up, and now that's going to impact so many generations.
Well, I'm so thankful we had this conversation. As we wrap up, I'd like to go down the road and give each of you an opportunity to say personally how you feel we can build a better future for children here in Arkansas.
I am a Holocaust survivor child. I grew up in a house, and my mother raised us understanding what we can do. And raised us understanding that we have an obligation as the Jewish to leave the earth better than we found it. And make sure that we learn lessons from her life. And I think that, I hope, that I'm passing those same lessons on to my children, and I was proud of the state mandating Holocaust education. But I want to see that broadened to a mandate for very inclusive. And think that to the point of the youth voice, our foundation was quite a bit in environment studies. And no one, in fact, the climate argument more than a young girl named Brett. And the fact that you teach us what the power of the youth voice is, I don't think it's thank you so much.
Yeah, I have so much I could say, but I know that our time is limited. I want to first thank Harry Johnson again for bringing this initiative to Philander Smith College and helping us to shine light, if you will, on a very important issue for our youth for today and tomorrow. I would be remiss if I did not point out the fact that while we talk a lot about COVID tonight, that there has been a simultaneous epidemic going on centered around race in this country as well, filled with hatred. And Martin Luther King was a drum major for justice. And here at Philander Smith College, we have a very powerful mission statement. It's simple, really, but it says that we are to graduate academically accomplished students who are grounded as advocates for social justice and who are determined to change the world for the better. Our role has to continue to be as an anchor institution in Little Rock, Arkansas, and in the Delta, Arkansas, and all the states that surround and touch it, that we have a group of young folks who will be coming through our gates here at Philander Smith College from various backgrounds, from different learning styles and different learning levels and different experiences. But when they walk through that gate, it is our responsibility to educate them with quality education and to prepare them with the tenets of social justice so that they are not afraid to go back out and tackle the issues of the world, be it the environment, be it race, be it economics, no matter what the difference or issue is, a Philander man or woman should be equipped to tackle that issue. That's a very big job for me. And I know that Martin Luther King graduated from an HBCU, but you think about it. Martin Luther King Jr. grew up in a family much like those of us who are in this room today. I don't think he ever imagined when he went to Morehouse College, an HBCU in Atlanta, that a monument would be built in his honor one day. But he did, and it did. And so we have to invest in your son, Brother Scarborough, young Scarborough, right? We have to invest in him today because he could be the next monument on the wall, on the mall in Washington, D.C. And it's because of the opportunities of our HBCUs and their justice charged missions and their partners who help them to do those things that we're able to do that. So thank you all so much for being here
tonight. I think my role, what I see me doing as a young legislator is, and as my other role as director of youth services, I'm a big woman of faith as well. So when God calls me home one day, I just want to say that I left empty, having given all my resources, my time, my talent, my gifts to just make this state a better place for all our youth, no matter who they are, who they love, who they look like, where they were born, what part of the state they're in. I want to give everything that I have in me, leaving this earth empty to make it a better place for all our youth. So that's my charge.
Maybe whenever I talk to any group about the importance of engaging in the public policy process, I just one of my jobs is to highlight the challenges that facing children and families in Arkansas, the child poverty rate, the huge gaps in equity in Arkansas, in children's outcomes. And I always just like to leave people with, it doesn't have to be this way. The system was built for it to be this way, and we are the ones who can recreate the system. And that we've all seen it, especially these past few years, sort of the old guard fighting against our trying to change that system. And so we're going to win, but it'll go faster if we all are rowing together. So it doesn't have to be this way, and we can think. Absolutely. Thank you. Nice for nothing.
Slow down. I think we all have to just slow down, take the time, think. There's not one of us in this room that cannot think back to when we were a child. There was someone in our life that did something they didn't have to do. Be that person.
Let's give them a hand clap for this great time. And we're going to turn it back over to the
Let's give it up one more time for the panel. comments. I know the audience really appreciated it. I'm a man, we're going to keep you out of here and get you on home on time. But I want to do a few things. Number one, far be it for us to be here tonight, knowing what's going on around the world. So let's think about those folks in Ukraine who are losing their lives. When we think about Dr. King and everything we talked against, let's keep them in our prayers, and hopefully the world will do the right thing. So please let's keep that in our mind. Also, I would like to thank the Memorial Foundation staff. We have a very small staff. So Memorial Foundation staff, would you all stand up, wave your hand? We only have about 3 or 4 people. So we have David Lewis, James Simmons, Lisa Lee, Melissa Jackson, Gregory Phillips. Just want to let you know, we're taking this to 8 different other cities, 7 different other cities. We're going to St. Louis, Missouri to Aaron Stowe. We're going to New Orleans to Xavier University and Dillard University. Going to Houston to Texas Southern University and Prairie University, Washington, D.C. to Howard. We're even going international. We talk about global, we're going to NASA Bahamas to do this program. And then we're going to LA and San Francisco. So we want to be, for all our sponsors that donated to the memorial, this is something extra that we're doing to say we're making a difference in the lives of others. Having said that, then, I would ask Dr. Smothers to join us because I believe in that whole 10% rule. You give money at church, but when you come and do things, it's just apropos that you do something. So I'm proud tonight that the Memorial Foundation, even though we're pinching pennies and all that, I thought it was just something good for us when we come to these HBCUs that we leave something behind. So how proud I am tonight on behalf of the Memorial Foundation and our sponsors that we are doing an endowed scholarship in the amount of $25,000 to Philander Smith. This is what the Memorial Foundation stands for. It's not just a piece of stone in D.C. or all over the country. So Dr. Smothers will open as well. This $25,000, and make sure that the students get this and they deserve it. And with that, I said thank you. You want to say anything?
I always want to say something. First of all, thank you very much. I see my students sitting in the audience, and one of the things that you know very much, Mr. President, is that as we think about the access dilemma in this country, one of the greatest things that keeps our students at our institutions from getting to and through college is not the inability to think, not the inability to perform. It is the lack of the resources to do so. And so your contribution tonight adds to that pool of resources that will allow our students at our HBCUs to get to and through college. And so thank you very much.
So I invite our live audience to visit Memorial Washington State. If you have not been there, go and visit Washington State. I'll say this for a couple of reasons. Number one, if you're under 50 and you go there, you are amazed to see a person of color on the mall. You're amazed because it's 30 feet tall. And you know, getting past the parallel is this. When you're trying to go through all the commissions, it has to be a certain height. You can't go, so you have to play those little mind games with the parks, right? So we actually told them it's only this high. And so what we did was we dug down in there, so when you walk down there, then you look and say, this damn thing is more than 30 feet. But because we went to college, we understand how to play those games. So one of the kids stands there for you to see. So you're amazed if you are under 50. If you're over 50 and you go visit for the first time, you actually a tear will run over your eyes. You know that a person of color, somebody that you read about in this book or that you may watch with, standing here between the Lincoln and Jefferson Memorial. So it is a place to visit. If you read the quotations around the wall, it just means something different to each and every one of you. We want you to understand that our tenets of democracy, justice, and hope are themes of the memorial. And Madam Jeanette, thank you so much for coming out tonight, gracing us with your presence, carrying on this. Please, I want to say thank you to all of you. Thank you for coming out.